Just a reminder, you can catch me recording this podcast live on AMP. AMP is a new live radio app that lets you call in and chat with me in person while recording. Get the app on Apple's App Store and make sure you follow me at John Middlekauff to get notified when I go live. What is up, everybody? John Middlekauff, 3 and Out podcast. Hope everyone is doing well. Subscribe to the podcast wherever you may listen. You're watching on YouTube. Make sure you smash that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe to the Volumes YouTube page. A lot of stuff coming up today. Big mailbag, as well as a couple things I want to hit off the top regarding Caleb Williams and Patrick Mahomes. Maybe even a couple takes on the submarine. But first, I've told you guys about my friends at Gametime. Go to your smartphone, go to your app store, and download the Gametime app. It's the fastest growing ticket app in America. It's also the official ticketing app of this podcast. You want to go to any game this summer, this fall, football, baseball, basketball, when hockey season starts, I got you covered. Download the Gametime app and use the promo code JOHN, that's JOHN, for $20 off. Very easy to use, can't recommend enough. You want to go to a concert this summer? You want to get outside, have a brewski, take your wife, take your girlfriend, take your son. Do it with my friends at Gametime. Promo code JOHN. Very, very easy to use. Before we dive into the mailbag, I wanted to hit on a couple things really quick. One, there was, part of the business we're in is when you do, when I do a podcast, or like the other day I had Aaron Murray on, you cut something up and you put it out there for social. And a lot of it is, you put quote unquote your spicier stuff to get a reaction, which ultimately drives more people to talk about you. But when it's like, this is clickbait, well, you don't make any money on Twitter or Instagram. So just because someone clicks on it and watches it doesn't actually matter. You have to convert that person into a listener. So, it'd be easy for someone to say if some of the stuff that gets cut on this show, I'd argue if you listen to the totality of this show on a weekly, daily basis, that I'm not Stephen A. Skip Bayless. That being said, if you just watch a couple of my social clips, you might think that that's what the show's about. Part of the business we're in. It kind of is what it is. And there was a video that we put out the other day with me and Aaron Murray. And Aaron Murray, we were talking about the level of prospect. Caleb Williams, who is the star quarterback at USC and is a lock, if healthy, to be the number 1 overall draft pick this season. He would have easily been the number 1 overall draft pick in this last draft if he was eligible. And I think Aaron Murray said this, even though a lot of people in the comments thought I said it, but I completely agree that Caleb Williams is a better prospect than Patrick Mahomes coming out of college. And everyone went nuts. Hell, I even had a buddy on the Chiefs shoot me a text kind of fucking with me, laughing, making fun of the comment, even though he knows it's true as well. Because like Zion Williamson is a much better prospect coming out of college than Steph Curry. I'm recording this before the NBA draft. The dude from France, Victor Wembanyama, right? He's 7'5". He's like Kevin Durant, taller, French. I don't even know. I mean, we'll see. He's a much better prospect than Giannis or Jokic coming out of, they were not coming out of college, but coming into the draft, right? That's not an opinion. That's an objective fact. They are better prospects. That does not mean just because Caleb Williams is a better prospect than Patrick Mahomes, or that Zion Williamson is a better prospect than Steph Curry coming into the league, that he's going to be a better player. Like Zion Williamson slams a couple things pretty well, right? Porn stars and sodas / candy. Steph Curry puts on rings. Patrick Mahomes has already won multiple MVPs and multiple rings. The chances that Caleb Williams does that is not high. But coming into the league, it can't be argued he's a better prospect. Being a good prospect does not mean or equate to a guarantee that you're going to be a good player. So listen, I don't put much stock, if any, into the Twitter reaction. I honestly didn't know it was going viral, quote unquote, on Twitter until Aaron Murray sent me a text. I actually, for my own mental health, I don't even have Twitter on my phone because I know myself, I'll check it too much. And ultimately, I say it all the time, I don't think any of it matters. I don't make any money from it. And the reaction, it gets me too worked up. I'm not trying to be worked up on a Wednesday night at dinner with my girlfriend. Like, it's pointless. And that's ultimately what happens. So I remove it from me because I also don't think it's that important. Though the reaction was pretty consistent that it was madness to say that, even though it's an objective fact, right? It just is. And being a good prospect, like ultimately, Jamarcus Russell was an infinitely bigger prospect than Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy in 7 games had a better NFL career if he never played another game than Jamarcus Russell's entire time in the league. Like, so being a good prospect does not guarantee anything. Now, sometimes you're a great prospect, you become a great player. Lane Johnson, Trent Williams, Nick Bosa, Joey Bosa, right? Of course. And there are guys that, quote unquote, aren't great prospects, right? I would say the Watt family are good examples. I think J.J. Watt was a really good prospect, went in the top 15, but he wasn't viewed as some transcendent player. Look at his brother, T.J. Watt, who's easily one of the, I don't know, top 5 when healthy defensive players in the NFL. He by no means was viewed as some difference-making prospect. He fell to the late 20s. So being a good prospect does not determine your future success. Just like anyone listening right now, where you went to college right now does not determine how successful you will be in your business for the next 20 years, especially if you're 22 to 25 years old. You determine that 100%. Now, it can give you an advantage, right? If I went to Chico State and some dude next to me went to Penn, he might get some early advantages, but that does not guarantee shit as time goes on, right? Just as in the NFL, Trey Lance was drafted 3rd, and they traded multiple ones to do it. Well, 2.5 years later, he's competing to be the backup. Things change in the NFL probably quicker than for those of us professionally in our youth. Like, it takes a little bit longer and more time. But there are a lot of people that spend a lot of money that are my age going to Big J school at Syracuse or Northwestern that I'm running circles around. And I just went to, little old Cal Poly Technical Institution and then to Fresno State. So it does not matter. It really doesn't. Now, you're a better prospect because of physical skills, because, of upside, because of a quote-unquote ceiling. But as we see in every sport, a lot of ceilings never get sniffed. A lot of ceilings never even become close to materializing. And a lot of guys that were not viewed as being like Steph Curry went from being, this guy's, pretty sweet little player at Davidson, but what's he going to be in the NBA, to being a top 10 player of all time. And then sometimes guys go number 1 overall, Tim Duncan, right? And become an all-time great player, right? LeBron. I mean, it's just Andrew Luck. He retired early, but he immediately lived up to it, right? It looks like Trevor Lawrence is immediately living up to it. But just because you're a great prospect does not guarantee anything. I would bet on Caleb Williams becoming a really good player, right? But unlike Patrick Mahomes, who got to be drafted by Andy Reid redshirt a year, Caleb Williams is going to be drafted by the worst team in the NFL. And we'll see how that plays out this season. Who's his coach? Who's his offensive coordinator? Who's he throwing to? Because right now in college, he's had one of the better offensive minds over the last couple decades in college football, right? I mean, Lincoln Riley's easily on the short list when it comes to offense with, the Chip Kelly Oregon tenure, Mike Leach. Right? I mean, it's a very, very small group of people. I mean, I'm not a huge fan, but I got to give him the guy credit. Urban Meyer had some pretty good offenses. So, yeah, but he's got to live up to it. And that's the hard part about, just like Victor Wembanyama. Everyone's like, he's the greatest prospect since LeBron or Kareem. Well, it's a high bar. The likelihood that he's going to be LeBron or Kareem, I would say, is slim to none. It's like the likelihood that Caleb and the comp, and it is fair because their games are somewhat similar, is going to be Patrick Mahomes, you would say, is very, very unlikely. Like slim to none. I would put like under 5% because Patrick Mahomes is clearly one of the best quarterbacks we've ever seen. But not just best, like physically can make all the throws. Legitimately wins Super Bowls, MVPs. So, going to be fascinating to watch.